Hello, everyone, and welcome to the October Book Club meeting. I am your host, Megan Jean Smith. So I'm just going to check that we are live. If you're here, please give me a wave, say hello, write something in the comments so I know that you are here. I'm just going on my phone to make sure that you guys can hear me and see me. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. Say hi if you're here, and then I know that you can hear me. I know you guys usually can. Oh, there we are. I can see myself. I know you can see me, but can you hear me? Say hello if you're there. Okay, so if you're just joining in, because I can see a couple of people coming in, I'm your host, Megan Jean Smith. Nidhi, hi, thank you. Yay, yes, hello, Allah, great. So glad you guys are here, and I'm live, you can hear me, fantastic. All right, so we are talking about Time Warrior tonight. Such a cool book. If you haven't read it, this is what it looks like. I am so curious to know what you guys think about it. But before we get into it, let me just introduce myself to those people who are tuning in for the first time. So my name is Megan. I am a money mindset and life coach for women. Basically, I help women become the person that they want to be, which is the coolest work ever. And as part of that, I also get to be here with you in book club talking all things money and mindset. And tonight is a really, really special occasion because today on the Money Mindful podcast, it was episode 52, which marks 1 year of the podcast. Woohoo! So I know you guys know I normally have like a lemon tea or something, but tonight I have the champagne out. I am celebrating, and I hope that you will celebrate with me too. And also, we have a special guest here with us tonight. She's waiting in the studio. I will bring her in a few moments. Catherine Clayton, the Joyful Habits Coach, will be joining us soon. And she's actually going to take us through a little mini workshop about habit stacking, how to create new habits and how to break habits that we don't want anymore. I can see a couple of comments, so I'm just going to check in. Nidhi, happy first birthday to Money Mindful podcast. Yay, yes, thank you, Nidhi. I haven't been able to read it as got busy with moving to the northern beaches. Ooh la la, good for you. Packing, unpacking, just settling in now. I'll read it for sure. Yeah, Nidhi, it's such a good one. And in fact, I've really had to constrain what we're going to talk about tonight because there is so much goodness in this book. And the reason why I picked this book for you guys was from way back months ago when you said that you wanted to learn more about time management. I had this book in mind. And then, of course, if you've been tuning in to the podcast this month, you will have heard all the great content, the interview I did with Lauren Cash, the time coach. And really, guys, like this time management, it's not about getting more done, like getting more on our to-do list complete. It's actually about managing our time in a way that we plan ahead of time and create our life on purpose, like create what we actually want to do on purpose. So I'm really excited to have you really embrace all these concepts about time. Okay, I'm going to stop banging on about that and just do a few formalities before we bring Catherine on. As always, If you're new here, the best way to get the most out of book club is join in, because otherwise it's just me talking the whole way through, and it's so much more fun when we get discussion going and you contribute in the comments, which is amazing because I will read them out, what you say. Also, everybody's opinion is valid. We want to hear what you have to say. And of course, as we know from all the previous book clubs we have already done this year together, it's a really respectful and welcoming environment, and I love that. Okay, without further ado, let's bring Catherine on because I'm super excited to have her here. Catherine, I'm just going to do some technological whiz things. I'm going to unmute you and bring you on. Catherine, welcome.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
You're a little bit wibbly wobbly, but we'll see how we go.
Yes, we've been testing some tech with my little computer here. I'm just going to turn myself up and see if that helps. I switched to some headphones. I hope you can hear me okay. Thank you for having me. I wanted to say, look, I'm the one to shy away from a celebration beverage. But cheers, and congratulations on 52 episodes of the podcast. I think Steve, the Time Warrior, would be so proud of you. It's everything he writes about, you know, Mr. Getting It Done and pushing on, and really inspired. So thank you for having me on. I'm really happy to be here chatting to everybody.
Yay.
Yeah, so I'm going to kick off about, I'm just obsessed with habits. And, you know, this book, I should probably introduce myself actually, is Catherine Clayton, the Joyful Habits Coach. And I really, like Megan, work with men to help themselves get the most out of life, find time, find joy and energy for all the things that matter. And this book just, leads into that beautifully. So, what I love about habits, and it does dovetail into this book, is that they are such a practical and reliable tool for you guys to implement to achieve the things in your life that you want to create, right? Our brains are wired in a way. Sorry, Megan, did you want to?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's cutting out a little bit. You want to try the headphones?
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. We're going to do headphones here.
That's all right. We go with the flow here, Catherine. It's fine.
All right. Let's see how we.
Yeah, Nidhi's saying that it's not clear on your end, so we'll try it out.
How's that? Or have we now just switched to that low pitch noise that we issue?
That's all right. I can't hear any.
How's that? Am I back?
Yeah, I think that's better actually.
Okay, let's go with this. Sorry guys, thanks for going with the flow. Yeah, so what I loved about this book is the idea of a bias to action, and the fact that if we're going to master our time and master our lives and the way we spend our time, we need to keep movement. You know, we need to keep moving forward and making decisive action about the things that we do in our lives and the things that we don't do. And habits are such a great way really to put in place a system that helps you to automate some of that, right? We're not relying on willpower. We're not relying on motivation or grit. You know, when the task comes along, we're not just hoping and wishing that we're in a mental state to tackle it. We're actually using habits to automate and to remove a bit of that decision fatigue that can come into our lives. So I'm really passionate about using habits as a tool to help you automate and remove that decision fatigue that happens in daily life, and to remove procrastination, which is a huge part of what this book is about. Being able to not make a decision, not have to ponder, because in that moment of should I do anything, habits really help us push through with momentum throughout the day. So I was just going to share with you a couple of habits that I think are fantastic to help you become a time warrior. And then we'll just talk really briefly about a couple of tips on how to set up habits successfully. And also, if you wanted to break some habits, I've got a couple of tips there. So Megan, I love a good TED Talk, so cut me off if I'm going too long here, but I'll kick off with the habits that I teach that I think are fantastic for helping you manage time. So the first one is the 1 minute rule. And the 1 minute rule is about basically if the task can be done in a minute or less, you get it done. immediately. And there is absolutely no excuses. So this is about removing double handling, removing that thinking factor, removing temptation to procrastinate, all those little things you say, I'm going to get to that later, I'm going to get to that later. One rule that is stable, right? So I'm going to challenge you to kind of implement that in your life. And what it does is it basically means that you use momentum, you keep on top of things, and you don't procrastinate with simple, tiny little things and let it snowball into big, overwhelming things. And that really is the challenge, right? With procrastination, when we let something go to the point where it's overwhelming, that's when we're going to really struggle. So that's one of my favourite ones.
Right. I might have to stop you there, Catherine, because you keep and it's hard to hear you. So
bugger. Okay.
My suggestion is I'm going to just be really technological and do this, and I'm going to suggest that you restart or do whatever you need to do at your end and see if you can get the better sound on, and then we'll pick up again.
That sounds good. I'll try and hop on my phone. I'll leave you to it.
All right. All right, guys. So unfortunately, obviously, Catherine's having some streaming difficulties. That's all right. Let's just get straight into talking about the book. Who has read it? Ella said you're halfway through. Who else is here, by the way? Because I can see, say hi if you are here in the comments. Give us a wave, say hello, let us know if you have read the book or not. And it's totally fine if you haven't. There's a lot of really practical stuff that I'll talk about tonight that you'll still be able to get stuff out of it if you haven't read the book. Hey, Emily. Hey, great to see you. Have you read the book, Emily? All right. So the first thing that, Christina, great to have you here too. We haven't seen you for a while. So great. Okay. So let me just get my notes ready. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to start with the book is that in chapter 2, let me just get to it because I think it's really good. Page 3. I'm just going to read this little bit to you that from chapter 2. So it says, how to keep your soul alive. When I accept the role of time warrior, I will seek first to keep my soul alive. Instead of what most people do, they try to keep their fake identity alive. As warrior, not warrior, I will wake up and create my day based on how I prefer to serve this world. And I can do this in any format, including washing dishes at the hotel, if I do it with enough love, energy, and humor. People who do lowly jobs with love and energy find themselves being promoted and offered other better jobs very quickly because they understand what Robert Frost meant when he said, the way out is through. Other people stuck in lowly jobs where they imagine they are being unjustly nickeled and dimed are always looking for a way out, never seeing that the way out is through. I fucking love that so much. And the reason why is because I heard somebody say, Anna, hi. I heard somebody giving an analogy recently about when you are working towards a goal, there's a common thing that many of us do. And if you think of it like a river and you're on one side of the river and you need to make it to the other side of the river, which is your goal, right? This hypothetical goal. And there's all these stepping stones across the river, right, to get to your goal. And when you are working towards something that you want to do in terms of how you plan your time and what you do, what I love about what Steve said here is that we would never get on a stone going across the river and be annoyed about it. Like, oh, bloody hell, here's this stone that I've got to be on to cross the river, right? Do you get where I'm going here? It's like when we're working towards something and we're planning stuff on our calendar about something that we want to achieve. For example, today I was doing some editing on a transcript for an interview that I've done from the podcast. Now, doing that thing, doing the transcript is like my stepping stone across the river to get to having the show notes ready and the podcast complete and ready to go, right? But what so many of us do is we get to this stage along the stepping stones of our goal and we're like, I can't believe I have to do this, or transcribing this interview is so below me, or whatever, right? I'm just coming up with examples. And so when he says the way out is through, that's what I think about when I think about achieving things in my life that I'm trying to get to. What do you guys think of that? I know you haven't all read it, but do you do that? Like get annoyed about stuff that you have to do to reach a particular goal without really being conscious or thinking about it? I know it always takes a minute for the comments to come up, so I'm just going to have a look over here. Laurel says, haven't read it yet. Congratulations on your 1 year money mindful birthday. Thanks, Laurel. Emily says, I haven't read the book yet, but glad I could catch tonight's book club. Okay, so do any of you have this experience when you're working towards something in your life and you forget that these stepping stones that you're on, you actually want to be on them to get to your goal? Okay, so like Anna says, absolutely, I'm definitely annoyed about the stones. Yes, yeah. We just want to be there already, right? Yeah. All right. So the next thing that I've kind of gone through this chapter by chapter, and you'll see that in the end, there's so many chapters that I can't do every chapter, but hang on. Christina says, I do get annoyed and later realize it's all worth the effort. Yeah, I just love this analogy of the stepping stones across the river so much. And I'm super pleased that this is at the start of the book, because I think so many of us forget about that. All right, so moving on, I wanted to talk to you about what he says in chapter 3, which is time is made in your mind. And what do you think about this? Because when I first heard this, I'm just like, no, time, I have too much to do and I can't fit it all in, and there's not enough hours in the day. But actually what he's saying, to us is that time is a social construct. Like we've actually made it up. And we all, there's never like more time or less time. We all have the same amount of time. But how we choose to use our time is just a decision. And I think, and I'd love to know what you think, is that he's trying to tell us you have to be intentional. You have to make a decision about what you want to do with your time. Like if you want to do an amazing presentation tomorrow at work, maybe part of that is using your time to go to bed early, right? Tell me what you think about this. Do you think that time is in our mind, or do you think that's like rubbish? What are you thinking? Okay, Christina. Oh yeah, so Nid, he says, yeah, it happens and later you realize it's all worth the effort. Oh yes, the other question. And Anna says, fucking stones. Yeah. Laurel, yes, we do have some weird perspectives about time. I know when I'm in flow, everything fits in the time allocating. the space-time and the, is that Jedi works? Tell us more, Laurel. I think it's more about how we choose to use our time. Yeah, absolutely, Nidhi. Okay, so truly though, what do you think though? Do you think time is a mental construct? Like, is this the first time you've thought about time in that way? I'm really curious. I'm just looking at my notes. Laurel says just fucking do it. Yeah, totally. All right, I'll just let Catherine know. I can see you, Catherine, that you're there, and we're just going to keep talking for a little while, and we'll see how we go. All right, so let me get to the next question that I wanted to ask you, because there were so many good points. Okay, so and then he also says in chapter 3 that I've never seen a greater time waster than people pleasing. What do you think about that? Like, what does that mean to you? Do you find that you do things because you want people to like you, or you don't want people to get upset with you? Like, you go to a particular event that you feel obligated to go to, but actually that's not what you want to do. Ella says, I can see how time could be a mental construct, but I find it hard to think about it differently. Yeah, I agree, Ella. I've been following a Monday Hour 1 schedule, which we talked about on the podcast earlier this month. And at first I was really resistant to believing that I was in control of my time, but I'm learning that I actually am. And that's why I get so much done now, because of making decisions deliberately, like what you said, Nidhi, earlier. Christina, I don't know if I missed a comment before what you said, but I'm not sure. She's just saying, oh, damn, agree. I feel personally attacked about time. Fill me in. What have I missed in the questions? All right. And so then he goes on to talk about overwhelm and how I've got notes on the side of my screen. It's just easier for me to read it there. So sorry, I'm not looking at you. But he says, only a thought believed can produce a feeling of overwhelm. In a simple life in which you only do what's in front of you, there can be no overwhelm ever. What do you think about that, Ella? That there can be no overwhelm ever if you are only doing what is in front of you. I fought this for a long time, this idea that like my life was happening to me, like these things were just happening to me, like this to-do list was just on me, like I had to do it. But actually, you don't have to do anything. I know, crazy, right? We're adults. We can do whatever we want. Nidhi says, I sometimes do overthink things. Yeah. And Alice says, or spending an hour rewriting an email because you're worried about displeasing someone. Yes. Or you're worried about what people think about you. I think I've mentioned this before on a podcast or on an email or something about you can choose how long something's going to take. Like, for example, Ella, in your instance, the email, you can decide that email you have to send, you're going to allocate half an hour for. And that's it. When that half an hour is up, you're done and you send. And I think that's the hardest part for people, because so many of us, I know for sure, some of you can relate to this, we're perfectionists and we want to do everything perfect. And in my coaching, we call this B- work. It's like being okay to do B- work. And I'm not saying being okay to do shit work, but not going over the email 10 times until it's perfect. Like, you've got other things to do and to move on and get other stuff done. Okay, so Christina says, oh, it was about the people pleasing. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. It's a big part of why I haven't achieved goals and put things off that I want to do. Yes. I had a coaching session once with somebody who had written a novel. Like, they want to be an author. They've already written the novel and they're not doing anything with it because they're afraid that they will displease some people by publishing the novel. And yeah, it's like, it's not wrong, but is that how you want to live your life? Not doing things or doing things because you're trying to please someone else. Because at the end of the day, people pleasing is actually like, we're liars. We're not telling the truth because we're pretending to people what we want to do. We're not actually doing what we really want to do. Yeah, an amazing topic to explore. Nidhi says, agree to that if we focus on what's in front right in the minute. Yes, and Nidhi, that's why that Monday Hour 1 process, and for those of you who are not regular listeners of the podcast, this month I did an interview with Lauren Cash. It's called How to Get It Done. And she explains a process called Monday Hour 1, and you can use that for scheduling your time. And when you plan your time out and calendar it every hour in the day, you never get decision fatigue, because at 10 o'clock, you look at your calendar and you see what's on next. And that might be rest. That might be go for a walk with the dog, right? You get to choose whatever it is, but it's planned and you always know what you're going to be doing ahead of time and creating the life that you want to live because you're doing it deliberately. Anna says, it's actually really great to really schedule all the time because it gives me perspective on what I can get done and what my priorities are. Yes, because when you put all the things in your calendar, like pick up the kids from school, do the washing, cook dinner, suddenly you have a realistic view of your day. Whereas before, you don't put those things in the calendar, you get to the end of the day and you wonder why you didn't get everything done. And it's because the laundry, the walking the dog, and the making dinner that take 3 hours to complete those things, you didn't schedule them into your calendar. And so you are in this fantasy world of what you think you can get done, but you don't get it done because you haven't accounted for it. I mean, this is what we do to ourselves, and this is why planning is so helpful if you want to actually get shit done, because you can be so honest and realistic with what is possible. Christina says, I'm a perfectionist to the point of procrastination. Yep. Can anyone else relate to that? All right, so I'm just going to take a mini moment for those of you who didn't come on at the start, cheers everyone. Tonight we are celebrating Money Mindful podcast turning 1. So if you have a glass of something, whatever it is, a cup of tea, a coffee or a wine or something, please raise your glasses. Cheers everyone. I'm so delighted that you're here with me. And if you're adventurous, you could maybe even post a selfie in the comments of your cheers if you feel so inclined. Thanks, guys. I love it that you're here. This means so much to me, and I'm so delighted that we get to share this together every month. Thank you so much. All right. Nidhi says, I love my to-do list for everything. Yes. And Laurel says, oh yeah, perfectionism is a killer. But that's the thing, Nidhi, that I think is the big difference is you can have a big to-do list, but we can always add stuff to the to-do list. And there's nothing wrong with the to-do list, but when we plan the to-do list actually in our calendar, it gets done. And also when we plan it out over a week, we get to see that, maybe those 50 things on my to-do list aren't all going to fit and I need to add a couple of things on to next week. And I'll be curious to know if you've had a go at looking into doing the planning, the Monday Hour one. Has anyone looked at that from doing the podcast? I mean, it was only out a week or so ago, so you might not have had a chance to implement it. Oh, Alice says, I've tried out Monday Hour one the last couple of weeks. It works really well last week, but this week made me see I have unrealistic deadlines that will need to change. Yes. Yeah, totally. It's an awareness tool as well. We need to adjust as we go along. Cheers, Nidhi. Yes. Cheers, Anna. Siobhan says, congrats. Yes, thank you. Okay, let me see. All right. So Catherine is back with us. I want to keep talking about, I want to keep going. Hang on. Yeah, it's all my calendar and that's how it gets done. Sometimes handwritten lists work better for me if I'm on the move. Yeah, absolutely. We always need to do what works for us. Anna says, for sure. Amazing. All right. So should we pause for a moment and we might invite Catherine back on and see how you go, Catherine. And if we have any troubles, we'll just plan something to book this in on another occasion, because I think what you have to say is really helpful for everyone. So let me bring you on.
Thank you.
See how we go.
Thanks. I don't know if you can hear me. I've just messaged my neighbours and they're having internet issues as well. So look, let's give it a go. So I've packed my PC. So apologies and thanks for everyone's understanding. Yeah, I'm loving so much of the content of this book. I have been able to listen to kind of what you're saying. And as I was saying, habits are a great tool to deal with things like procrastination, wasting time making decisions, helping you prioritize. So where I was cut off before, and I don't know how much you were able to hear, but I was just sharing with you a couple of habits that I think are great for managing or wrangling or warrioring time. And then I'll just talk through a couple of techniques to help you set new habits. So the first one was the 1 minute rule. Is that still okay, or how are we going with
Yeah. So what was that 1 minute rule? Because that was
I'll go that again. Yeah, okay, so cool. So the 1 minute rule really is a mindset of saying that we're going to eliminate double handling and we're going to eliminate this self-talk of I'll get to that later, I'm putting off small things, right? So they're things that can be done within a minute. They are really small things that just happen throughout the day, every day. And it's really kind of challenging yourself to say, if this thing can be done within a minute, it gets done now. I don't care what's going on. And it's really about saying, you know, if I open a bill, can I pay it, put the envelope in the bin, and file the bill, right? We're not double handling, opening it, looking at it, putting it down, coming back to it later, just as a really simple example. This presents itself with putting things back rather than putting things down within our home. So observing how often you're just putting things down and leaving them around rather than going, I'm done, this is going to go back into its home. Because when we leave things for the future, a new level of motivation, energy, and momentum is actually required to pick things up again versus just getting them done in the first place. So to implement that one, it's a bit of self-talk. It's asking yourself, can I do this now? Pushing on, catching yourself when you say things like, I'll get to that later, and just moving through your day with that, I guess, decisiveness and action, you know, by action. So that's one thing that I think is really beneficial, especially for maintaining space and dealing with both physical but also psychological right? Because clutter is anything that kind of clouds our mind, and it can be future tasks and things that are taking up space in our mind. The second thing I think is fantastic, and it does get touched on in this book, and this is the art of single tasking and putting aside time where you are going to immerse yourself into tasks. And this is this is important in two ways. So anything that requires a lot of deep thought and attention to really push through and solve the problem. I think he talks about this a little bit in the book. I can't remember what chapter it is, Megan, where he's sort of saying, you know, when we're trying to solve something, enough time sitting with the problem is actually what's going to get the result. So taking time to single task and scheduling that into your day is a really important habit. but it's also a great habit for joy and pure enjoyment of a thing. Just doing a thing, immersing yourself in it, doing it well, and enjoying that feeling and that energy that comes from actually doing a good job of something that you've immersed yourself in. So thinking about how your day looks day to day, when you have high energy or low energy, when you're motivated, when you're feeling not motivated, looking for pockets of time and scheduling in that time to dedicate to single tasking. And so that means turning off alerts on your phone. That means taking yourself to a physical space if you need to remove yourself from physical space. It's all of those things that really allow you to create, just that little bit of space for yourself. And then, sorry, go Megan.
Yeah, well, I was going to say he talks about that in chapter 5, about distraction.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have this or if anybody, and write it in the comments if you do, those apps that tell you how much time you've spent on social media. And sometimes I am shocked. Like it's 2.5 hours and I feel like I've just been, checking my phone quickly here and there, a couple of minutes at a time. And by the end of the day, it's like, whoa, what could I have got done in that 2.5 hours?
And what thought processes did you interrupt? I'm so passionate about momentum in the day, and using momentum is it's the lazy way to get things done, right? Where you're cruising and you're going with momentum. And every time we allow ourselves to be interrupted or we indulge, and there's a chap by the name of Cal Newport, he writes a great book called Digital Minimalism, but he's also done a new book called Deep Work, which I haven't read yet, but it's meant to be great. And he refers to it as the twitch. This just desire, this twitch of a moment where we break thought or we break momentum, and the impact of that on the task at hand. And it may not be obvious in the moment, like what's the big deal looking at a phone, but what's actually happening in your brain, where your mind was going, the way that your thoughts were forming, and the neural pathways and all the cool stuff that happens in there when we're indulging in a task, indulging in a good way, and problem solving, like that split-second circuit breaker of an SMS or whatever, the impact of that's really significant. So that's something I really suggest everyone explores, is how do you carve that space for single tasking? And as a parent and a mother, that can be hard if you've got kids, so you really have to be strategic about how you do that. But it's worth the effort, definitely. And then the third thing that I always talk to people about, which I think is really great for time warrioring or wrangling, is this idea of removing decision fatigue from your day. So the burden to make decisions, and decisions that are inconsequential, what to have for dinner, what to wear, all these kind of simple thousands and thousands of decisions that we make every day that take up our cognitive capability and they take up space in it. Looking for ways where you can automate your decision making. So a lot of famous and very successful people have a uniform that they wear. You look at people like Steve Jobs and the like, it's the same thing every day. And I'm not suggesting it needs to go that far, but looking at ways that you can automate and streamline boring stuff so that you don't have to waste your decision-making energy and power on those things. So meal planning, boring stuff, right? It seems on the surface, but what it does is actually free time up for things that are really high value. So they're probably the 3 things that I'd love everyone to, play around with. The 1-minute rule, single tasking, and automation of really I call them boring decisions, but they are things that are not worth our time and not worth the amount of time and energy that they typically get. And then if I've got a few more moments, Megan, I'll touch on how to successfully set some habits if you wanted me to do that. I'm not sure how we're tracking for time.
Yeah, well, I was curious, Catherine, how to break a habit.
How to break a habit. Okay, cool. So there's a couple of ingredients to breaking a habit. And they really are just inverse to how we create habit. So we indulge in habits because typically they are easy. So we have designed our systems and we've designed our lifestyle to make a habit accessible. So one of the first things that we need to look at if you're looking to break a habit is, how can I make this difficult? Okay, so if your habit, for example, is watching too much Netflix, the first thing you can do is look at things like, where do you put the remote, right? What are the little circuit breakers in the day that can bring consciousness to the fact that you're about to indulge in this habit? So maybe the remote goes in a cupboard, which sounds so silly, but it's enough, just those seconds of making access to this habit harder can be enough for you really to just be conscious and turn the tide in the other direction. So if it's around certain foods, not having them in the home, how do you make access to things harder? I know things like if you're using your phone too much, there's limits that you can put on apps. There's passwords you can put on apps. There's lots of extreme examples I know of people who have their personal assistants change their password to their phone on a Friday, give them the new password on a Monday, right? So, it can really play around with it. And depending on how deep this habit's going, the first thing to do is make it difficult, because we tend to make the habits we enjoy, the poor habits we enjoy indulging, really easy, right? So if I'm going to eat a kilo of chocolate, bam, it's there in the pantry. If I'm a smoker, my smokes are always close. All those kind of things. So think about how you can make your habit kind of inconvenient and draw out some space between the desire to do the habit and the actual ability to access the thing. That's the first step, make it harder. And then the second one is make it less desirable. So what can you do to make this habit less desirable? And so it might be saying, okay, we go with the Netflix thing, that you have to do 20 sit-ups, 20 push-ups, 20 squats before you're allowed to watch Netflix. You have to watch Netflix standing up. You tell your partner that they have to quiz you, right, about the 2000 Olympics. And when you get 5 questions right, you're allowed to use, watch Olympics. And these things sound silly, but it is about gamification, and it is about circuit breaking the automation of what a habit is, because that's what a habit is. We have a desire, there's a trigger, and bam, we're there, right? And it's all automated in terms of what happens in the brain. So anything you can do to kind of circuit break that, and before you know it, you're playing, looking up to the Olympics trivia with your partner. And the last thing is to switch out something that is good. So switch in, something that is good. So when a habit exists, there is a neurological pathway in your brain, right? That exists, and it's like a track that's been walked over and over and over again. So we can actually use that neurological pathway for a good thing. So thinking of what is the trigger. So if I want to watch Netflix, I'm just exhausted after a long day at work. The trigger is I'm tired. I want to collapse on the couch. So what I'm going to do is buy some great books, and I'm going to put the books on the coffee table next to the couch. The trigger is still that I'm exhausted, that I want to relax, that I want to lie on the couch. So all that is still there. I'm not trying to work against it. I'm not saying, oh, awesome, I'm exhausted, I'm going to go and run for 2 hours. We still move with what we're wanting. We're wanting to relax. We're wanting to chill out. We're going to sub in something that's really constructive, like lying on the couch, but you're reading a book instead of watching Netflix, as an example. So they're really the 3 main steps is, make it difficult, make it undesirable, and remove any visual cues and make it harder for you to indulge that habit and switch things out that are much more positive.
That's so interesting. I'm curious if anyone's got any questions. If you've got questions for Catherine about this, put them in the comments. But I like that idea of breaking a habit by using what you already do, like putting the books to the couch, to not watch the Netflix, because I think sometimes it's just really white knuckling it in many ways.
Yeah, and I think what we don't want to do is over-rely on motivation. We don't want to over-rely on willpower. As soon as they're your key tools, creating a habit or breaking a habit, you're in trouble, right? Because those things desert you when you need them. So you really need to design a system that's going to kind of catch you on the rough days. And there's a huge amount of research that really talks about the role of environment in breaking habits in particular. So there's this incredible study that was done, it's a bit extreme, but it was done of heroin use in the Vietnam War, and all the users of heroin, like the heroin use was like 40% of soldiers or something were using heroin, and they were really worried that when they got back to the real world that we'd have this issue. And they just stopped because that was no longer the environment that they were in. It's a really situational habit. And so by making changes to your physical environment, like, you know, like you were saying, putting a book somewhere, you really can start to kind of craft behaviours that are aligned to the life that you want. So yeah, it is. But yeah, relying on willpower is not something I would recommend, because we are human and we can't expect to put in a perfect performance every single day. So we need systems to catch us on those hard days.
Yeah. So Ella says, Catherine, on the flip side of how to make bad habits more difficult, how would you make good habits easier?
Okay, so there's two ingredients to making a good habit easier. The first one is starting appropriately small. Too often when we are starting from a standing start, we go too big. Okay, so we don't acknowledge the fact that we are at a standing start and we don't break it down. I think this is in the book as well. Break it down, break it again, break it down again. What we need to do is bring the habit to a size that you can do it on your bad days. Okay, it's not what you can achieve on a good day. It's not what you can achieve when you're juiced up and motivated and everything's going well. It's what can you commit to and what can you get done when the day's a bit of a shit show, excuse my language. So the first thing is make it small enough that no matter what happens, it's reasonable that we can get that thing done. So 5 minutes, 10 minutes is a really good guide to start with for whatever it is, making it small. And then the second,
go on.
No, you go on, go.
Oh, I was just going to say, absolutely. And Ella, there's a whole podcast episode that I did on that. And I think from memory, it's called something like How to Help Yourself Win. And it talks about just exactly what Catherine's saying about creating a minimum baseline and making it really realistic. And I talked about how I made the minimum baseline to do yoga for 5 minutes a day because I wanted to create a daily habit, but saying that I was going to do it for 20 minutes or even 15 minutes was not really good for me. But 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, I can do that. And whatever it is that you're trying to develop, it might even be 1 minute. Like if that's your minimum baseline, that's what you do, 1 minute. I mean, what do you think about that, Catherine?
Oh, absolutely. And I think people can find it underwhelming. You know, when I suggest that, they're like, well, why would I work with a coach to start something for 2 minutes a day? Like, thanks, love. And the thing is that it's a gateway habit. We are building movement. We are building pride because pride is such an important ingredient when it comes to sticking with things. And James Clear talks about this a lot in Atomic Habits. You are starting to change your definition of who you are as a person. You no longer, let's say it's running. You start to see yourself as a runner. Yes, you run 2 minutes a day, but you've gone from being someone who doesn't run to someone who does run. And that is the gateway habit. And all you're doing is building it up and building it up. So getting our self-identity aligned with the new habit is a really big thing for sticking with it and setting ourselves up for success. So the first thing is starting really small. And then the second thing I love, and I know you love this too, Megan, is habit stacking. It's like my favorite habit hack. So habit stacking basically means that we tack on a new habit to an existing habit. So we ride off the momentum of an existing thing that we do every day without thought, and we just make it the trigger for the new habit. And there's so many tiny little moments throughout the day that are fantastic triggers. So I love things like when you're waiting for the kettle to boil, right? We do it every morning. Most of us do. Get up, kettle's on. Great trigger for stretching your back, doing your physio exercises, you know, whatever it might be, waiting for the water to heat up in the shower, you know, all those little things that happen throughout the day. What are you doing? Are you doing your pelvic floor exercises at traffic lights? You know, finding things that just happen naturally in everyday life, using them as a trigger for the new tiny habit, and then building momentum in that way. So I absolutely, habit stacking is such a winner because, again, we're not going from a standing start. This trigger is happening throughout our day and we're just tacking on for the ride. And then before you know, you'll be able to build up more from there.
I love that. And Laurel says that love the idea of habit stacking and creating the identity of a person who does the habit you want to achieve. And she also said that she's discovered that too, that you remove the prompt for a habit you want to stop and make a prompt available for the habit you want to build. And I think, and if you're happy to stay on, and we'll keep talking about the stuff in the book, because chapter 9, Steve talks about the mind makes all future tasks big and scary. So we procrastinate because it's this new thing we haven't done before.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to share, Ella, if you've got a habit that you're trying to create, like, let us know. And it's so funny because we think that this thing is so big and it's going to be so hard. And then when we actually do it, it takes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of amazing some of the things that I put off, like cleaning is like the main thing.
Yeah.
But so many things like that actually only take a really short amount of time. And how much drama do we spend in our head, you know, thinking about it, putting it off? We might not do something, like be thinking about something for days or even weeks, and then we get down to doing it, and it was like a task that took less than an hour.
Oh, I posted a meme the other day on my Instagram page, and it was like, just did a task that I've been putting off for a year. Took me 5 minutes. I will learn nothing from this, you know, because it's like we just keep doing it to ourselves. We just keep doing it to ourselves. And I think a good way to break this one is to use accountability partners. So if you've got a partner, a husband, someone you live with, or a friend, using an accountability partner as someone each week that you can be like, right, what's the thing you're avoiding, mate? Like, you have to sign up to it. What are you avoiding? What am I avoiding? Done. See you tomorrow. The thing gets done. And just forcing yourself to overcome that stagnant approach to, little silly things. It's so easy to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, and so many things that basically we do or don't do things based on how we think we're going to feel. So Absolutely. If we think we're going to feel negative emotion from doing something, we avoid doing it. And if we think we're going to feel good doing something, we do that. But oftentimes the process and we talked about this earlier, to get to the thing that we want, one of those stepping stones we might not enjoy being on so much. It might be a slippery stone or whatever. And so we avoid it because we think we're going to feel discomfort. But actually, if we just allowed ourselves to feel that discomfort, we would get to the next step, to get to where we want to go.
Yeah. And we're in a society to think everything should be fun. Everything should have an upside. You know, and the truth is there's some shit that has to get done. You either make it worse and harder and more stressful, or you just get it done and move on with your life. And it doesn't have to be fun. It's okay to do some stuff that's boring, like a revolution, right?
Yeah, we're not going to feel happy all the time. That's exactly right. And that goal, that society goal that we have, that's the goal to be happy all the time, is so poisonous, because then we look at Instagram, or we look at these amazing lives people have, or we just look at somebody happy in the moment, and then we don't feel like that, and then we think something's wrong with us. Nothing's wrong with us. Like, the human experience is to feel emotions, good and bad. Like, we're supposed to feel sad, and we're supposed to feel scared, and we're supposed to feel fear. All those things, those feelings keep us alive. You know, in days gone past, we feel afraid. Literally. Like a lion chasing us, you know. All right, I want to just read some of the comments. Nidhi says, thanks a lot, Catherine. Great to meet you here and learn some really good tips from you. And Alison was thinking fitness habit. Right, okay, about the new habit. Fitness used to be part of my day naturally, because I'd ride to work every day, but working from home, it's harder to fit it in or be motivated to exercise. Yeah, and I think that's where what Catherine was saying about making it like the minimum baseline, making it a realistic, like, is it realistic for you to do 1 minute of exercise a day, or 5 minutes a day, or 10 minutes 3 times a week, like whatever it is for you, starting there. All right.
Ella, I don't know. I'll just say for Ella, I don't know where you're located, but a little suggestion, you'll be free soon if you're in Melbourne. In that scenario, what's actually happened is the environment's changed. So what you really need to do there is look at a way that you can redesign it. So the best thing would be to pick a day or days where you can have like a coffee at 9 a.m., for example, at a cafe, and you ride to the cafe, you work from the cafe, and you ride home. You just redesign your routine, kind of get that back in there. Would be my suggestion.
Cut out a bit, Catherine, but I think you said redesign a routine.
A routine, yeah.
The one that she used to have, so she could ride to the cafe.
Yeah. Am I breaking up again? Oh, I'm done.
Yeah, you are. All right, so we're getting to the end of time, so I would love to know, as usual, everyone, what are your biggest takeaways? What are the biggest takeaways from this book? And what are you going to apply? And I'll start and Catherine, if you want to answer this question too. Basically, for me, the biggest takeaway that I got from this book is you just have to grab life by the balls and go for it. And the only thing getting in our way is ourself. And I think that every single chapter is really about taking personal responsibility for what we do in our life and how we conduct ourselves, because life doesn't happen to us, right? Like we make decisions. We have the life that we have because of the things that I do. And I'm not talking about in terms of sometimes circumstances are out of our control. Okay. But how we manage those circumstances is totally on us. And you can be for sure, like same circumstance, and somebody will handle it really not in a good way, like feel very out of control and like they don't have any say and a real victim about the situation. And somebody else, same circumstance, can take control of everything that they can control. And not to make anybody wrong, but I just think Steve's main message was you're in the driver's seat and you're the one who is in control of your life and how you want to create it. And the biggest thing for me is just getting even more intentional about exactly what I want to do in a day to actually get a result. So, for example, when I put something on the calendar, I don't just write weekly email. Like I write email up on MailChimp, proofread and ready to go, right? Because that's the result that I want. So let's see what everybody else is saying. Ella says, thanks, Catherine, we'll give it a go. Yes, amazing. Nidhi says, I'm even more intrigued to read it now. Oh yeah, Nidhi, do it. This book is right up your alley. Get it. Laurel says, carving out the space for single tasking is the biggest takeaway for me. Yeah, and Laurel, I don't know if you've listened to that podcast with Lauren Cash either, but that Monday Hour 1 talks about that process, talks about carving out focus time so that you have focus time in the day where you're doing your deep work. So, and whatever that looks like to you, that might look like from 9:30 till 11:30 you're working on a major project that you're doing, and that time is just for that. And so you don't check your emails during that time. You plan it. And if you work in an office with other people, some ways you can manage that is put headphones on so people don't come and disturb you, like all these things. But yeah, having this focus time set aside to do the deep work that you need to do, and then having communication time at another time of the day. Like you have an hour here or, 2 half-an-hour blocks or something like that where you check your emails and respond to people who communicate with you. And that might look different if you're working in a company where you have to respond to emails. Maybe you check your email once every hour or something like that, but you don't respond to every ding that comes in. And in fact, you turn all your notifications off on your computer, everything, and put your phone away. That's how you get stuff done. What do you think, Catherine?
You're ruthless, right? 100%. Although I have to admit, yeah, I think throughout the book I was like, does this guy have kids? Has he ever had kids? Like coming in and like interrupting you, like, because yay for him. Is he a monk on a hill? But no, I totally agree. I think the biggest takeaway from me, and you're dropping it out, so this I might have to go after this. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you go. But I was just going to say, playing the cards as they fall and not scenario all the time, just doing was my takeaway. But I'll leave you, because I don't think the connection's
all right,
working.
well, Catherine, thank you so much for tonight. And I would love to request, if possible, you've mentioned a couple of books tonight. I think you talked about 3 of them. If it's possible to write it in the comments, so anyone who was listening tonight, if they're interested, they can see what they are. I don't know if you can do it inside the studio. We might have to do it in Facebook, but that's okay. It's easy to access. All right. Well, I will say goodbye to Catherine. Thanks so much for being here, Catherine. And next month is the last month for book club for the year. And we are reading The Year of Less, which I have announced in the email. I love this book, and I actually interviewed Kate Flanders just recently. That interview will come out next month on the podcast, and we look at money and stuff and minimalism in a way that I think rarely gets discussed, and it's all about feelings and how we feel. And in the money world, that is such a place where people normally don't go, right? You know, don't make emotional decisions about money, etc. But actually, emotions are so important when it comes to managing your money, and we're going to talk about that, all about that. You'll hear it on the podcast interview with Kate Flanders, and you'll also we'll talk about it in book club. And book club is different next month. It's actually going to be on the 1st of December. It's still a Tuesday, but it's the first Tuesday of December, not the last Tuesday of November, as it usually is. And it'll be our last one for the year. And before I let you go, I wanted to let you know that in celebration of the Money Mindful podcast turning 1, I sent an email out to everyone who's on my email list, and I'm pretty sure most of you are. And even if you're not, I know who you guys are, and this applies to you. I am giving a coaching session to 10 people to celebrate the Money Mindful podcast turning 1. And this is a real coaching session, like a session that I do with my clients. I send you information, a video on everything beforehand. There are still a few sessions left, and I would love you to be able to have this opportunity. Coaching to me is absolutely life-changing, amazing, transformational shit, and I would love for you to experience it too. So if you would like to take me up on that, I am giving away 10 sessions in celebration of us being super kick-ass women, reaching our goals, creating the life that we want. And all you have to do is email me at the Money Mindful website. So it's megan@moneymindful.com.au. This is only available to people who are on my email list and people who are at book club. And I know who you guys are. So if you email me, just let me know. You know, I'm Christina, I'm Nidhi, whatever. I know you guys. All right. Thank you so much for being a part of another month at book club. It's one of my highlights of the month. Until I see you next time, have a fantastic month, and I look forward to reading this and chatting about it with you on the 1st of December. All right. Bye, everyone. Good night.